there, my name is Danielle with Cookies and Bacon, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 different sheet pan recipes. Hopefully these are recipes that you've never made before. These are going to be fast, easy, just pop it in the oven for about 30 minutes and you'll be good to go. So go ahead and grab your apron and let's get started. To start us off, I'm going to be showing you how to make Parmesan crusted chicken with some potatoes and green beans. So you'll need about 4 to 5 baby red tomatoes or any kind of potatoes that you want except for Idaho potatoes. So I use Yukon Gold in this video, and I just sprayed my pan and I'm adding my potatoes to it, and we're going to season the potatoes before we put it in the oven. So in a medium dish, I just put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 cloves of minced garlic, and then 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan. And I'm just going to mix that up, and then we're going to mix that with our potatoes, and then we will cook that in the oven at about 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until they are nice and tender. This is completely optional, but you can add some seasonings of your choice to the potatoes before you put that Parmesan olive oil stuff all over it. So I just put salt and pepper. You can even do some paprika or seasoned salt, whichever you like, but I just did salt and pepper because I have this Parmesan garlic rub that I'm gonna rub all over the potatoes and then bake it in the oven. I'm just going to go ahead and add in our rub for the chicken. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan, and then also 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. You can also put in some pepper, some salt, probably a 1/2 teaspoon each. And then we're just going to mix that up, and then we are going to put our chicken on it and just put a layer of this breadcrumbs on top of the chicken, and then we're going to bake that in the oven for a little bit. Have some of that breadcrumb Parmesan stuff left over, so I just went ahead and put my green beans in there. So these green beans I had already pre-cooked. I boiled them for probably about 15 minutes because these are fresh green beans, and I just coated them in that Parmesan stuff, and I'm just gonna put it on in with the chicken, and we're gonna bake this in the oven for about 15 minutes. I did want to add, for all of these sheet pan meals that I make, I do have a larger family, so I do end up using 2 different pans. I do want my potatoes nice and crispy, so that's another reason why I use 2 different pans. I don't have a really big pan that I could just do everything on, so that's why in all these videos I'm using 2 different pans, so you can do whatever you like. Okay, so now I'm going to be making this sausage and potato bake. So I'm just dicing up my sausage. You can dice it up however you like. And then I'm going to put in my potatoes, and then I'll season it appropriately. I'm going to go ahead and dice up 4 of my Yukon Gold potatoes. I just used Yukon Gold throughout the whole videos because they were cheaper. I really do enjoy the yellow Yukon Gold potatoes, so that's just my preference. I'm going to make some broccoli as well to go along with this meal. This typically just had the sausage and potatoes, but I thought broccoli was good. I had it on hand, so I went ahead and added it to the meal. My kids did not thank me for that, though. I'm going to lightly coat this with oil and get it all mixed through. You can mix this all together. I kind of wanted everything in one little pile, but you can mix this all the way through. However you want to mix it is fine. And then I'm just going to season it with some salt and pepper. and some paprika as well. Now, because I added the paprika, it did make it a little bit more spicy, so of course my kids complained about that. I have 2 kids that do love spiciness and 2 kids that do not, so you know, it is what it is. I also added some basil to this. I thought that was a good add-in. I think I added some oregano, is what you see here. You'll just bake this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes, just until your potatoes are nice and tender or to your liking. If you want them crispier, definitely you can do longer. I would probably take out everything but the potatoes though if you want those crispier. Otherwise, everything else is gonna burn. I set this for 30 minutes, but it only took about 25 minutes. And here's the final product. I had some mac and cheese as a side to go with it, and it was very, very delicious. Okay, now I'm going to be making this honey Dijon chicken dinner, and here are the ingredients that you're going to need. I added some zucchini and squash to this meal to make it absolutely excellent. I went ahead and diced up my potatoes, all of my vegetables, my zucchini, my squash. I season it with olive oil, some salt and pepper, some paprika, probably about, I don't know, half a teaspoon of each. And I think yes, I said paprika, so definitely some paprika. I love paprika, it just adds so much flavor to it. So, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cook this in the oven at 450 for about 20 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and get my chicken prepped and ready. So I'm just cutting off the skin of this chicken. And then once the skin is all off, I'm going to go ahead and season it with some salt and some pepper. Now that everything is seasoned, I'm going to go ahead and get started on my honey mustard rub. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 1/3 cup of honey and 3 tablespoons of yellow mustard, 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, which actually I didn't have Dijon, I just had honey mustard. So I just put in honey mustard and it tasted great, you know, it was fine. I added 1½ teaspoons of garlic, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of thyme, and then a tablespoon of olive oil. I know it's a lot of ingredients, but this chicken was phenomenal. My whole family enjoyed it so much, and I know that you'll enjoy it as well. Lightly grease my pan that has some foil on it. I'm just going to put my chicken on it, and then I'm going to put that rub that we just made, that honey mustard rub. I'm gonna generously lather it all over this chicken, and then we will put it in the oven for about 20 minutes. And this is the final product. This is what it's going to look like after it's done cooking. And I just put some noodles as a side with it, and it turned out phenomenal. We all enjoyed it. This was actually our family's favorite meal. This Cajun seafood broil was absolutely amazing. To start us off, I did go ahead and boil these potatoes just so everything could be on the same pan, everything gets done at the same time, because the shrimp doesn't take very long to cook. The corn and the sausage, those things don't take very long to cook. So I went ahead and pre-boiled those, and now I'm just cutting up some sausage, and I'm going to layer that with my corn and shrimp, and then we will make our sauce for this dinner in just a minute. Definitely don't want to miss out on this marinade. This is phenomenal. So this is what we're going to put all over our sheet pan. So I am just taking 1/4 cup of melted butter and 4 cloves of minced garlic, and I'm just going to mix that up. And I did not have Old Bay seasoning, which is really good with this, so I just used this Meat Church seasoning that my husband said would be really good for seafood. So I probably put in closer to 2 tablespoons of that in with this butter mixture. If you're using Old Bay, you can use 1 to 2 tablespoons of Old Bay seasoning, and it'll work out perfectly. After my potatoes have been cooking for about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, you don't want them to be completely done, but a little bit soft. And then I just put that on with my sausage and corn mixture, and now I'm putting that sauce on top. This sauce is amazing. Please do not skip out on that. It is so good. Just go ahead and mix all that up with the butter and the potatoes and get it all mixed through properly. And then we are going to put that in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until the potatoes and everything, all the corn is cooked through. It is amazing. You could also put some parsley on top. Any kind of seasoning you want, you can put on top. I just put parsley, probably about 1/2 teaspoon of parsley on top, and then I put it in the oven. This was heaven in your mouth. It was delicious. I will definitely be making this on a regular basis. My husband said this is a must. I did pair it with some rice. We had some like package of, I don't know, Cajun rice. Okay, now I'm going to be making these ranch pork chops, and if you know or have listened to my videos, you know my husband's not a fan of pork chops, but he did enjoy this. So I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm going to put in 3 cloves of minced garlic in there. All right, and then I'm going to put in some parsley, so 1 teaspoon of parsley, and then 1 packet or 1 ounce of dry ranch seasoning. And then I'm going to put in about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, and I'm just going to mix that up. And this is going to be the seasoning for our potatoes. We're going to put this over our potatoes. And I added a little bit more olive oil just so it would spray a little bit further. Okay, so I diced up all my potatoes and I'm lightly greasing my pan, and I'm just going to use that marinade that we just made, and I'm going to rub that all over the potatoes. I really enjoyed this ranch garlic mixture. It was very flavorful, so I'll definitely have to use this again for if I ever make potatoes again. They were delicious. Okay, now to my 9x13 pan, I'm just going to spray again just to help with the mess. I don't like doing dishes, and I definitely don't like hand washing my dishes. So here I am, I add about 4 pork chops, and then I'm going to add in that mixture as well. I used half of it for the potatoes, and now I'm using the other half for my pork chops. So here I am just kind of spreading it out. I definitely recommend adding probably 2 more tablespoons of olive oil just so it'll spread further. Maybe a little bit more ranch, because I definitely could have used some more seasoning, some more of this rub to rub all over my pork chops, especially if I was going to have more. If I was only going to have 2 pork chops, you know, I had a smaller family, that would have worked out perfectly, but I have a bigger family, so. And then I'm also going to dice up some zucchini and squash, and I'm just going to put this in a separate pan. I'm going to put this in the pan that I'm going to cook my pork chops in. So these are going to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until everything's nice and cooked. The potatoes probably need to be cooking for probably closer to 30 minutes. It takes a little bit longer for those potatoes to get nice and tender. So I'm putting this in a separate pan with my pork chops, and everything, by this time, everything will probably be done about the same time. So I'm just going to layer my zucchini and squash how I want to, and then layer my pork chops, and then put it in the oven at 400 degrees for probably about 15 to 20 minutes, just until everything's nice and cooked through. This is optional, but you can add some more ranch seasoning. I mean, everything is ranch and garlic anyway, so may as well season up those zucchini and squash to make it flavorful. So I just added some ranch, some dry ranch seasoning, and then some olive oil, and it added a delicious flavor to it. So I definitely recommend doing that. The potatoes have been cooking for about 15 or 20 minutes. I went ahead and added some green beans. So I had boiled these fresh green beans for about 5 to 10 minutes, and now I'm just layering them with my potatoes to add some more vegetables to this meal. And I put it back in the oven for about 10 minutes, and it was delicious, nice and fork tender. Everything was absolutely phenomenal. So I hope that you do enjoy this meal. If you try any of these meals and you enjoy them, please let me know in the comment section. That would be awesome. And here's what it looked like after it was done. Everything was beautiful. My favorite was the pork chops. I'm a big meat eater, so I definitely enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the new one. Bye-bye for now.